When Warren Buffett talks, the world listens. And right now, the Oracle of Omaha, arguably the greatest investor of all time, has a pretty stark warning about the housing market. What's wild is that this is a complete 180 from what he was saying just a decade ago. So let's unpack what's going on and what it can mean for you.
To really get this, we got to rewind to 2012. The market had just crashed, and Buffett was one of real estate's biggest cheerleaders. He famously said he'd snap up hundreds of thousands of homes if he could. He even went so far as to say they were a better investment than stocks. That's a huge statement.
So that brings us to the big question, right? Why the sudden change of heart? What could possibly make one of the sharpest investors on the planet completely flip his script and now warn people against buying a house? Well, let's get into it.
Okay, so we're going to dive into Buffett's new case against housing. He basically lays out 3 big reasons why he now thinks the stock market is by far the smarter place for your money.
And it all boils down to these 3 things: effort, bargains, and liquidity. And in his view, when you put them head-to-head, stocks win every single round.
Let's start with effort. Buffett's first point is super simple but really powerful. Investing in real estate is just a ton of work. It's so much harder and more time-consuming than buying stocks.
And this slide really lays out what he means. It's like a real estate gauntlet, right? You got to find the property, go through weeks of back-and-forth negotiations, survive the nightmare of inspections, and that's all before you get to the never-ending repairs, dealing with tenants, and handling taxes. It's practically a second job. Now compare that to buying a stock. A few clicks on your phone, and boom, you're done.
All right, point number 2 is all about finding a great deal. Buffett is famous for hunting for bargains, and he argues that in the housing market, those true rock-bottom deals are just incredibly hard to find. They're almost a myth.
And this timeline really drives that point home. Think about it. Over the last 100 years, there have only been 3 major moments when housing prices really took a nosedive: the Great Depression, a little dip in the 90s, and the 2008 crisis. That's it. Stocks, on the other hand, they go on sale all the time, giving you way more chances to buy the dip.
Buffett's third and final point is all about speed and flexibility, what investors call liquidity. He paints this amazing picture of the stock market where you can do billions of dollars worth of business completely anonymously in just a few minutes.
And the contrast with real estate couldn't be more stark. Buying a house is this long, drawn-out, emotional saga. It's personal. You're dealing with another human being making a huge life decision. A stock trade? It's instant, it's anonymous, it's totally impersonal. The second you click buy, it's over.
But hold on, before you go and list your house and dump all the cash into an S&P 500 fund, let's flip the coin. Because even though Buffett makes some great points, real estate has a few superpowers that stocks just can't touch.
And the biggest superpower, by far, comes down to one word: leverage. This is the secret sauce of real estate. It's the ability to use the bank's money, a mortgage, to control a huge asset and totally supercharge your returns. Your average Joe investing in stocks just doesn't have a tool like this.
Let's just walk through this example, because this is where it gets crazy. Say you put down $50,000 to buy a $500,000 home. Now, let's say the home's value goes up by 20% to $600,000. You didn't just make a 20% return. No, you made a $100,000 profit on your $50,000 investment. That is a 200% return. It's incredible. And on top of that, there's more. If you rent out your property, you can add another 2 to 6% return every year from the rental income. And that's after paying all your expenses. We're talking pure cash flow in your pocket.
And here's the most obvious advantage, one we can't forget. A stock certificate isn't going to keep the rain off your head. A house provides shelter. It's a basic human need. It has a real-world use that has absolutely nothing to do with its value as an investment. Everybody's got to live somewhere.
Okay, so we've heard the arguments from both camps, but what does the data actually say? Let's strip away the opinions and just look at the hard numbers, head-to-head. So if you look at the stock market going all the way back to 1928, with dividends reinvested, the average annual return has been 9.8%. That is a seriously powerful and passive way to grow your money. Now, let's look at housing. Over that same century, the average annual appreciation for a home has been 4.3%. Now that's not bad, but it's clearly not in the same league as stocks.
And this chart just makes it crystal clear. When you're talking about pure growth, there is a massive gap. And this really gets to the heart of Buffett's argument today. From a pure growth perspective, stocks have historically been the much bigger engine.
So where does that leave us? What's the final verdict? Stocks or real estate? Well, the truth is, it's not that simple. Let's bring this down from the billionaire level and talk about what this really means for an everyday person.
First things first, and this is probably the most important takeaway, you are not Warren Buffett. His strategy is based on moving billions, with a B, of dollars around. What's impractical for him, like buying up a few 100,000 houses, might be the perfect strategy for you.
So let's look at this with some balance. If you're buying a home to actually live in and you plan on staying for 10 years or more, it can absolutely still be a great financial decision. Just know what you're getting into. It's a lot of work, but it gives you stability and a different kind of asset in your portfolio. Of course, with today's high prices and interest rates, it's definitely a tougher hill to climb.
And this brings us to a really crucial piece of wisdom. The secret to making money in real estate isn't trying to time the market and sell at the perfect peak. It's about buying smart. You make your money the day you buy by finding a good property at a fair price.
And so we'll leave you with this one last question to think about. What role is a house supposed to play in your life? Is it just another number in your investment portfolio? Or is it something more? Is it the place where you're going to build your life, make memories, and feel secure? Your answer to that question will probably tell you everything you need to know.